Okay guys, Clash Royale just announced the Golden Knight, the Cannon Cart, and the Goblin Hut are getting big reworks. And they said, what other cards do you think need a rework? This is the first time they've ever done something like this, if I remember correctly, where they announced reworks after the set of work in progress balance changes, and they actually gave their reasoning, communicated their reasoning and ideas behind it. Donald, the guy in charge of the balance changes, did that. So honestly, I think this is really, really cool. And I expect this to be perceived well by the community, at least the communication aspect of it and the reasoning why, because that's sometimes what we wonder. Like, what was the thought process and the reason behind these changes? Well, let's get right into it. I'm going to watch this video with you guys, give my opinion on everything, and then look at what the reaction of the community is afterwards.
Yeah, these changes are somewhat coincidental, but it's better to change multiple things at once instead of every month, like one random card getting reworked. It'll just make it easier to learn everything at once. Hi, I'm Donald. I'm a gameplay designer on Clash Royale, and we're going to be talking about card reworks. We've buffed Golden Knight.
Here we go. Excited about this one. This card has sucked for who knows how long now. Over a year, bare minimum. He has been considered the worst champion by far, and it has not even been close, so definitely he needs something.
Twice last year, pretty significant buffs, but it just never moved the needle on its place in the meta. How many more buffs does he need? 3, 5? We believe it just needs a rework to the ability at this point. I don't know, where is it in frame? Like, old ability was very complicated.
Yeah, you could see, like, it took forever for people to understand how the Golden Knight worked. I remember that when it first came out especially. It's just like even some of the best players in the game were so confused where the heck it was going. Like, it just felt so random and luck-based sometimes. So maybe that's part of the reason why they're doing this rework as well.
The 6-step system with semicircles and a bunch of geometry, but ultimately what it meant is he can't dash backwards, and if you played cards like Goblin Gang behind him, it would just fully counter the ability, and we're changing that. The new logic is we're removing all the semicircles. You could dash backwards, it'll be a full 360-degree radius. It won't be counted.
That's nuts. That's nuts. Like, it being able to go backwards is a game changer, because think of all the differences that's going to make, especially defensively. Like, let's say there's a push coming in. Maybe it's like something with the Royal Hogs. It's like you could play it on the unit behind the Royal Hogs first, right? Maybe it's like an Archer Queen, so you want to attack it or something like that first, and then boom, pop the ability, and then it dashes backwards and hits the Royal Hogs. So many different situations, it's just going to get way more value. This is a very nice rework. I would just almost consider it a direct buff in my opinion, but I guess they consider it a rework because it's changing the champion that we've known for such a long time.
Countered by behind placements, it'll act much more intuitively. We're reworking Cannon Cart. We're removing the shield and replacing it with what we call a segmented health bar, just like Goblin Demolisher and Boss Bandit. We're doing this specific rework for bug fixing and more like technical reasons that are above my pay grade. There's just a lot of specific code in the game about Cannon Cart, and we're just trying to move it to a more generalized system and, you know, clean up the game. If you rocket the Cannon Cart now, it'll deal the full damage, not just break the shield or bring it to 50% HP. Some other cards, like Inferno cards, they'll keep charging even when it becomes a building. Before, they used to interrupt the charge and reset. And one of the bugs we're fixing that comes up quite often is Cannon Cart versus Evolved P.E.K.K.A. Evolved P.E.K.K.A. won't heal twice anymore. Now it'll only heal once, which is much more intuitive.
This one I'm a little bit unsure of if it's good or not. I'm gonna need to actually see it in the game and see how it plays out, because it seems to me like this isn't really necessarily a buff or a nerf, at least an obvious one, and it more so depends on the actual situation. But this is one where I don't really think anyone necessarily asked for it to get a rework or a buff, and I thought it was okay how it was, but I guess I can understand the logic of the technical issues, and I don't feel super strongly about this one, but the next one I bet I have, you know, different feelings on for sure.
The Goblin Hut will work entirely differently now. We're completely reworking the logic. It's getting an art refresh, new card icon, new sprites. Instead of passively spawning spear goblins, it'll reactively spawn them when enemies get close. So we wanted another anti-air defensive building, just like Tesla, Cannon, etc. Currently, when Lava Hound's in the meta, these decks are forced to play Tesla. When it's not, they play the other ones. We just needed more variety in our defensive buildings, and this was just a great opportunity to rework a spawner and then also introduce another anti-air option. Plenty of cards in Clash Royale's past that have gotten like significant reworks, and I'd say are pretty healthy part of the game. Mortar used to cost 6 elixir, Rage used to not deal damage, Heal Spell became Heal Spirit, but spawners still haven't found their place after 9 or so years. They just don't really make sense in terms of like modern Clash Royale design, you know, where we want like back and forth battles and just a lot of engagement. Spawners, just their design is encouraged to like sit back, play behind, and just kind of like AFK. We believe they just have to get redesigned from the ground up to have a place in the game.
Yeah, I really like this idea because what it appears like, at least for the Goblin Hut, is they don't spawn until the units actually get close to them. So instead of it making just like a spawner that's continuously getting chip damage on your opponent's tower, it's now so more for the purpose of a defensive building, which I think helps make it unique as well compared to the Furnace and the Barbarian Hut, because people just lump them all together. And now the Goblin Hut is actually a lot different. Like, its sole purpose is primarily going to be defense and then a counter push, instead of this chip damage after chip damage, and it's just more like random, and it's just kind of like doing whatever, like he was saying. And with it being 4 elixir now, I definitely think this is a buff to the Goblin Hut. Not only is it going to be as like toxic, or maybe have that, you know, that Sigma or whatever, or not that word, gosh, what word am I thinking of? I just woke up a little while ago, so I'm losing my train of thought, but the, whatever, the stigma of, you know, it being considered just an annoying spawner, now it's going to be a bit more skillful, hopefully, too. So it buffed the card while also making it more strategic, too, I feel like. So I think they really did a good job of accomplishing that.
For future reworks, we're definitely keeping an eye on spawners, but we're also interested in what the community thinks should get reworked. Anything's on the table, and we're interested in the community's feedback to start working on the next ones.
Yeah, so all around, I'm very excited to see these. The cannon card is the one I am not too sure about. Doesn't seem like it's going to, well, be completely dead or completely OP, but I just don't understand why that one had to be changed. I mean, the bugs, yeah, there has been more of them appearing recently with it, like the hidden extra health it had and the P.E.K.K.A thing, things along those lines. Maybe the shield aspect makes it a tiny bit confusing for casuals. Let's see what some people are saying. How about rework fucking RG Monk and Recruits? No one likes these cards in any way. Makes a toxic brain dead meta that no one wants to see. Cannon card did not need a 5% HP buff. So yeah, the cannon card, I guess, apparently has a tiny bit more hit points in total now, even when you included the actual cannon card as well as the cannon afterwards into just what the regular cannon card is now. It's still, I guess, afterwards still has 5% more health is what he's saying, but I guess there's some things that counteract that. For example, like, now things don't have to restart when it's like an Inferno drag on top of it or something like that. When it's melting it, it just continues going. So really just kind of depends, and it's going to be situational, I feel like. Please rework Recruits. So cannon card is ass. Yeah, I was kind of thinking the cannon card, it did kind of get a small nerf. It seems like Golden Knight is broken and Goblin Hut still won't be used. I disagree. I actually think the Goblin Hut's going to be pretty dang good after this rework or buff. I think the Golden Knight and the Gob Hut are going to be really, really good. That's going to be it for the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. If you guys are not subscribed already, you can use credit code BOSS to support me in any Supercell game. And thanks again. Until next time, guys.